This morning, almost 2 years after she fell victim to new variant CJD. This video, shot by her boyfriend, shows the vivacious, healthy young woman she once was. But in her last months of life, she couldn't walk or speak. She suffered hallucinations and had no memory. The effects the disease had on Claire, who'd been a vegetarian for 12 years, were movingly described by her father at the public inquiry into the BSE crisis.
Claire can do nothing. We don't know whether she can see us, whether she can hear us, or whether she can understand us. You know, this disease is a terrible, terrible disease, and I don't think there are many people that know exactly what these young people have suffered. She was tormented by her disease.
Here, enjoying her role as a bridesmaid, Claire's family always said she had everything to live for. But her case raised fears about how long an incubation period CJD may have, and her father told experts he felt the food and public health systems had let his beautiful daughter down. Helen Wright, ITN.
Is broken. Tonight, the Met Office confirmed to News at 10 that the first 3 months of this year were the warmest start to any year since records began.
149.
Scientists are used to measuring the thickness of Antarctic ice, but new research has dug even deeper, gathering samples from the ice fields to build up a profile of the world's climate over the last 6 centuries. Ancient forests have been studied too, for clues about how warm the Earth was long before man started keeping records. The researchers made an extensive study of what they call natural archives. In other words, things like this tree, which has been around for many centuries and which can yield clues to what temperatures were really like in the past. Samples were also taken from old coral reefs, with all the evidence pointing to one conclusion. The 90s had the 3 warmest summers since at least 1400 AD.
The 3 years in particular, 1991, 1995 and 1997, were the warmest probably for close to 1,000 years.
This column here shows...
At the Met Office, a scientist showed me a ship's log from the year 1860, the first year when reliable world climate records began. What does he make of the new research going back 6 centuries?
I think we should give it quite a lot of credence because of the general level of temperatures before the 20th century are considerably lower than we see now.
And it's a pattern of global warming likely to continue well into the next century. Howell Jones, News at 10.
Talks between striking there, and what will they do with it? Our science editor Lawrence McGinty has been finding out.
This is the research reactor near Tbilisi in Georgia, where the nuclear material destined for Britain is currently stored. 2 years ago, American specialists built this brick wall and installed closed-circuit cameras to watch over 4 kilograms of weapons-grade uranium, almost enough for a bomb. Before that, rebels captured the reactor but didn't find the uranium. Still, the doors that now guard it against terrorist attack are protected only by the crudest of security measures, like homemade alarms sealed with plasticine. Experts like physicist John Hassard say almost anything is better than leaving weapons-grade uranium in these circumstances.
Well, I'm very much against the reprocessing of fissile material. I'm against transporting it by air, and there is obviously a small risk of pollution from any material like this. However, you have to balance that against the very real risks of this material falling into the wrong hands. I know what I'd go for. I think it should be brought here and dealt with.
The problem for Western powers is there's no inventory of the former Soviet arsenal of weapons or nuclear material in research institutions. This uranium came from one center in Georgia, but there are 11 nuclear centers across the former Soviet Union, a total stockpile of 300 tons of plutonium and 600 tons of uranium, enough to make tens of thousands of bombs. This uranium could have gone to nuclear plants in Russia, France, or the United States, but they apparently refused to take it. Instead, it came to the UK. The key fact about weapons-grade uranium is that it is radioactive, but not really dangerous to health, because its radiation doesn't penetrate. It's blocked even by a piece of paper. What does make it dangerous is that it is bomb material, and therefore a terrorist target.
Professor Joseph Rotblat received the Nobel Peace Prize 2 years ago for campaigning against the spread of nuclear weapons. He helped build the first ever bomb. Today he told me the Dounreay shipment could be a good thing.
It all depends what is going to happen to this material. If it's going to be diluted and rendered useless as a weapon material, then I think it would be a good thing. If, however, as I understand, the intention is not to dilute it, but still use it, sort of cut it up into different into pieces and use it for medical purposes, still as a highly enriched uranium, then I would be worried.
In fact, what will happen at Dounreay is that the enriched uranium will be processed with aluminium into small pellets. They will be shipped to this reactor in Holland. Here, the uranium will be treated inside the nuclear core to transform it into a chemical called molybdenum, which is crucial in medical tests. Doctors use it almost every day because it causes little harm to patients, but provides invaluable information about the spread of diseases like cancer to the brain, the lungs, and the skeleton. And it's in short supply.
The world supplies of molybdenum are actually quite limited, and there have been times in the past when we've had world shortages of molybdenum because of the problems of supply. So any supply is valuable.
What will create a problem for Dounreay, already beleaguered by complaints about this waste shaft, is that the Georgian shipment includes 2 pounds of waste that at the moment it can't even start to reprocess. Lawrence McGuinty, News at 10.
We reported earlier on the fans battling to get World Cup tickets. Well, tonight England and Scotland